Hey, Stephen A. Smith got a shot to be president?
Hell no. Come on, stop it.
Come on. Trump did?
Hey, Dan, knock it off right now. Stop it. Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stephen A.
Hey,
come
he's on a tour. He's on the tour. He is on the tour that they all want to be. Meet the Press, Fox and Friends, MSNBC. He's on the presidential media tour at this point.
Here's the thing. He actually has a point. And it lines up much more with what Charles Barkley has been hinting at, Dan, with anything Stephen A. Smith wants to admit.
You know, Stephen A. is a friend of mine, but he needs to stop right now. Like, my friends close to me give me a lot of credit, and I'm not blowing my own horn. I want to be on TV as less as possible, to be honest with you, Dan. That's why I only do a couple commercials a year. I don't go on a bunch of shows. Less is more. Because the more you do, the less people take you serious. And I don't feel the need to grab every dime. I don't feel the need to grab every dime at my disposal. Like I've been arguing with my agent. He says, you know, we could do 5 to 7 commercials a year. I said, we're gonna do 2 commercials a year. That's it. I don't want to be on TV all the time. I get sick of seeing myself doing March Madness, but I don't want to be on TV all the time. And I don't do a bunch of TV stuff because I don't want to, because people get sick of you. That's my number one thing.
No lies were told in that critique. Not a single one. Stephen A. isn't presidential. Nowhere close. And that's not an insult.
People will get sick on you. So I don't want to be on TV more. I want to be on TV less.
I don't think that's the Stephen A. Smith method right now. I don't think that's his mentality, Charles.
Listen, that's not. As a matter of fact, I was in the studio last night, and I see he's going to be on Law and Order tonight. I mean, he's already on General Hospital. He's already on General Hospital. Now he's going to be on Law and Order tonight. And I was just laughing. I'm like, yo, man, you're starting to be too much right now. Like, you're going to be on CNN, you're going to be on Fox and Friends, now you're on General Hospital, now you're on Law and Order. I'm like, yo, man, knock it off. Stop being on every TV show. Because at some point, people are going to regret. They're going to get sick of you. And you're going to be like, yeah, I probably did too much. But once you do too much, it's too late. And then people don't take you serious. And I think he's got to be careful in that aspect.
It's just reality. Stephen loves playing footsie with political labels, shifting his tone depending on the room he's in.
As I hear about running for political office in the future, and some people have said that they could see you running for president. Mm-hmm. Would you do that? You think you qualified to run for president? I mean, the bar is pretty low anyway.
I do not.
Can you rephrase that?
I just think that the bar is really low because Trump really had no political experience and went from 0 to 100, right? He didn't start in the city council and stuff like that. So the bar is low. Anyone can run.
I have said this on many occasions. The answer would be hell no, because I like my life. I'm living a pretty good life. But I must confess, I wish I could debate some of these guys. I'd love to be on a debate stage going up against these guys with the presidency on the line.
We will arrange that.
I'm half joking, but I kind of mean it. I mean, I have no desire to be a congressional figure or a senator. But if you came to me and you told me I had a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States of America, I would definitely.
Back in November, when Jay Caspian King wrote about it, Smith went on The View and told the host he was fiscally conservative but socially liberal, saying he believes in a live and let live mindset. Then he immediately undercut that by questioning why liberals let hot-button issues define their platform.
You're in an uproar off the Epstein list? That's all you've got? It's really, really surprising that this matters. Of course, I think there's a list, but I don't know. I suspect, but I have no knowledge, nor do I care. It's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out and enjoy myself. I'm getting ready to have a nice weekend. I can give a damn about the client list, the Epstein client list. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I have a life. I don't understand for the life of me. I'm talking about people losing it. They're crying on camera. They're talking about resignations. They're pissed off about everything. I'm like, really? With all the stuff going on in this country, with all the power that you possess because of the cachet and the influence you have because of your connection to this administration, that's why you upset at Trump. I didn't blame Trump one bit for looking at them and saying, really? That really matters to you? That's really that important? Now, maybe he had a different reason for saying it, trying to be evasive or whatever. I don't know. But I do know this. In the grand scheme of things, it ain't going to affect the lives of over 2 to 300 million Americans. I think we'll be just fine without knowing whether or not there was really a client list. I think we'll be okay.
He specifically brought up trans athletes in sports, which is wild because that talking point didn't even start with liberals. It was pushed hard by Republicans. Yet Stephen framed it like it was a self-inflicted Democratic obsession. That contradiction is the real issue. He talks like an independent, argues like a conservative, then acts surprised when people call it out. And this isn't new behavior.
I've ever had to articulate out of my mouth from a political perspective, but I got to tell you something. As much as people may have been abhorred by Donald Trump's statement weeks ago, talking about how black folks, he's hearing that black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what black Americans have gone through, he wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. When you see the law enforcement, the court system, and everything else being exercised against him, it is something that black folks throughout this nation can relate to with some of our historic, iconic figures.
Over the years, Stephen has bounced back and forth, saying he'd run as an independent because both sides are bought and paid for. And honestly, that part isn't wrong. But here's where it gets messy. He constantly praises his own capitalist success in America while acting like he'd somehow be untouched by the same money-driven system he criticizes. He even claimed he could beat any Democratic candidate in the field. The confidence is loud, but the math doesn't add up. Internet detectives quickly resurfaced an old repost where Stephen said, "I love hearing Bernie Sanders. He personifies my views as an independent dude." That sent people spiraling. And then comes the flip-flop again. One moment he's praising Bernie. The next he's blaming woke culture and cancel culture for wrecking the country. He argues that Democrats care more about that than the economy, immigration, and crime, that's where the frustration really kicks in. Because at a certain point, people stop listening to the message and start watching the contradictions.
Relate to you when you're suffering like that, because we know we have.
Stop.
And that's what
You're suffering. Go to my iPad. This story is from June, this is from 2016. Hundreds claim Donald Trump doesn't pay his bills in full. Dozens of lawsuits allege the businessman didn't pay what he owed. And you go through right here. The small businessman won a bid for a $100,000 grand piano to install in Trump's Taj Mahal. Guess what? Trump refused to pay him, only paid $30,000. Show me a black man who could do that. 200 liens since the 1980s were filed by contractors and workers who said they were stiff. Show me a black woman who could do that. 253 subcontractors on a single project were not paid in full or on time. Show me a black woman who could get away with that. 24 Fair Labor Act violations by Trump Plaza Casino and Trump Mortgage for failure to pay minimum wage or overtime. Show me a black person who could do that.
And Stephen keeps giving them new ones every time he opens his mouth. That's where Malcolm Ferguson at the New Republic basically you shut the whole thing down. The numbers tell a brutal story, and it's not flattering for Stephen at all. Recent polling points to a serious problem for any hypothetical presidential run. A lot of voters simply don't like him, and that inevitability image just isn't there. And let's be honest, a long career built on yelling at people on TV doesn't exactly translate into broad political appeal. That loud, confrontational style works for sports debates, but politics is a completely different beast. A newer Zitto poll made things even worse. Out of nearly 20 potential Democratic presidential candidates surveyed, Stephen A. Smith was one of only 2 with a negative net favorability among likely primary voters. Let that sink in. His rating came in at -18. That's not just bad, it's ugly. What makes it worse is that his score was 15 points lower than Sean Fain, who ranks second from the bottom. Even more telling, someone sitting at -3 was considered an improvement in that field, which is honestly wild. Then you look at Cory Booker reportedly sitting at +68 favorability, and that's where people really start questioning the whole situation. Those numbers feel completely disconnected from how many voters actually talk offline. It highlights just how strange and distorted political polling can look when media exposure, donor friendliness, and name recognition take over. The bigger takeaway isn't just that Stephen polls badly, it's why. Years of volume, ego, and performative confidence don't magically turn into trust, warmth, or leadership credibility. Politics doesn't reward the loudest voice in the room the same way TV does. And that's the reality Stephen keeps running into. The camera loves him. The voters? Not so much.